Let's see. Oh, let me turn my camera on a little bit so I can see myself. There we go. Okay, let's see. Oh, need to open the chat. There we go. Excellent. Martin is here. Sean and Josh himself. Smoked out cave in Canada. Nice. I need a hat. Need a hat today. Wear a hat. There we go. Now I feel better. Okay. Mr. Francis. Excellent. Mr. Workman is in the house. The other Mr. Workman. The better Mr. Workman. Cool. Mr. Williams, Marcelo, thank you for coming on. Dr. Bob. Excellent. Clarinet. Hey, everyone got to check out shoot, I'm drawing a blank. Now that I saw Clarinet, I know whose website it is. He posted a nice little page on the community. Was using Cookie Jar with Rain Check and the new Play Stack. It's a nice one. Excellent. Dave here. Mari, thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. Everyone go check out Mari's YouTube channel. I think she just dropped a few videos recently. At least I just watched some recent ones. Good stuff. She redid her husband's website. She kind of does a whole like breakdown of that. So check out Mari Pfeiffer's YouTube channel. Check it out. See, Mari, I'm watching you. You didn't know I watched that, did you? Okay. So, let's just get into it. As you probably know, Monday, at least early Monday morning, my time, of course, I start a live stream and someone rings the doorbell. But early Monday morning, I got hacked. So I got a call. Hopefully my dogs aren't annoying you guys too much. So yeah, early Monday morning, I got hacked, and yeah, it was a long Monday. But luckily we got it all fixed, and we're good to go. Now, I thought it would be fun. I did write up an entire post on the community. If you haven't read that, it's I've gotten a really great positive feedback on that post. So go check that out. But we are gonna be diving into it today, and it might help with some visuals, right? So how did it happen? Or let's just say what happened first. I figured out that this particular person exploited a hole in my Total CMS demo. Okay, maybe I should share my screen right now. We'll just kind of talk about what happened, and I'll show you. Okay, so let's go ahead and give me 1 second. All right. So, if you go to the main Total CMS website and you go to the demo, okay, in this particular instance, the soccer demo was the demo that was actually exploited. Okay. Now, because this is Total CMS and it is a demo, I want to give users the ability to edit the demo so they can play around, right? So you can go ahead and edit this page. And then on this particular page, you can actually edit the contents of the demo. Now, I do have jobs that basically run every 30 minutes to reset everything back to how it should have been. Okay. But getting right down to it, the problem was this little area right here. Okay. And what this particular user figured out was that if he were to upload a PHP file into this depot, this is a Total CMS depot. Essentially, you can upload previous to an update that I already shipped on Monday. You could upload whatever file you wanted, right? So I can go ahead and let's just, I can have an image. I can go ahead and upload this image. Now, that is JPEG. It is allowed, right? However, if I were to go into here and upload, let's say, a PHP file, okay, now this fails. Previously, it did not. So he figured out that he can upload a PHP file. And once that PHP file is on my server, it is a predictable path in terms of where that file is located. So essentially, he was able to upload a PHP file, and I actually will show you the PHP file that did the most damage. I have it on my local machine, and I will show you exactly what it is. Okay. Um, so once he knew this PHP file was uploaded onto my server, basically he just went to the predictable path of that PHP file, right? If you didn't know, inside Depot, you can go ahead and there is the path to the files, okay? And basically you can just put that in there and use that PHP file and do whatever you like. Now, let me preface this before we go further that by default, right, you shouldn't have your admin areas for Total CMS 100% publicly accessible, right? Had my admin page be locked, then none of this would have happened at all, right? If it had been password protected, he wouldn't have been able to get to this page to be able to upload a file. Okay. So luckily, hopefully, none of you have, your admin pages not password protected. Okay. So rule number one, password protect your admin pages, either with the Total CMS Protect stack or with PageSafe or with SiteLock or with whatever else you want to use. Okay. So let's look at what this person uploaded to my server. So he had these are copies now. Luckily, Total CMS does auto backup, so I have copies of every file this user uploaded. Most of these were didn't really do much, okay, or he couldn't because of how my server was configured and whatnot. So I'll kind of go through some of the things that he attempted to do, but I think that I'm going to spend most of the time on this guy right here, which is pretty much, as you'll see. I'm going to launch. Let me go ahead and I'm going to launch just really quick a local PHP server on my Mac. I'm running only this on my Mac so that we can just go ahead and do that. I'm going to be doing probably a lot of really techie stuff throughout this to kind of show you. I'm not going to teach. So I'm just going to kind of show you what I did. I may tell you about some other videos that I did that kind of talks about some things in depth. But okay. So as you saw, this is the page that was uploaded to almost every web page, every website that's on my server. That's on this server. I do have multiple web servers, but every site that was on this particular server had this as the homepage. Okay. So what exactly did he do? How did he do it? So as I said, we had this file he called it 0.php. Okay. And this is what it was, right? It was a file browser. So he uploaded this to the server. It allowed you to see all the files in the file system. You can go up into, let's say, downloads, right? Yeah, I mean, again, this is on my local Mac, okay? But you kind of get the drift. You can go ahead and click on a file and you can see its contents, okay? You can browse and upload a file, okay? Just to make it a little bit easier for him to upload files rather than having to use Depot as a hack, okay? He was able to upload files directly from this. Now, because all of my websites are on the same server, he was able to basically use this to kind of move and upload files around on my server. Okay. So hence he replaced the homepage on every web page, every website. So this was the file that did the most damage. Okay. So there we go. Pretty crazy, right? Yes, I'm using the posh name of person. Yes. Yes. So yeah, pretty crazy. Now what were the fixes? So first off, as you saw, oh, shoot, I closed that browser window, didn't I? Oh well. When I tried to upload a PHP file, I have now blocked that. If you're running the latest version of Total CMS, it will not allow you to upload PHP files as well as some other file extensions that were questionable that we should allow, right? So basically any sort of known script or executable thing that could be ran on a web server has been denied with Depot. Okay. Maybe in the future we can allow you to allow certain types if anyone really needs to, but I can't see a need for having to upload a PHP file via Depot. Just seems like just a bad idea. Okay. As we saw. Okay. So that was definitely a good quick fix. For Total CMS, that we can basically block allowing upload of any file that you want. Okay. So basically all script or anything that's dangerous to have on your server is not allowed to be uploaded. Okay. But all your common types are still work. 99.9% of the files you are going to want to upload is just fine. Zip files. Now, if you wanted to upload a PHP file that could be used, you could zip it and upload it, I guess. But at that point, it's just a zip file. Okay. So it does a lot less damage. Okay. At least to your web server. Windows executables, DLLs. In Windows land, there's a lot of different ones. I did a little bit of research. There's a lot. I'm actually going to be shipping a small update today that has a little bit more breadth of, especially for Windows servers. With that said, don't run a Windows server. Just run a Linux server, please. Like, it'll make your life so much nicer. Okay. But there's a lot more stuff. I did a little bit more research on the Windows server side for the few people that don't have a choice. That I'll ship an update for that has a little bit more, blocking logic for some Windows server stuff. So there we go. But with that said, if you have a choice, run Linux, make your life a lot easier. Okay, but I know not everyone can do that. What does the person get from hacking my website? He gets to be known as a big MF, basically. I mean, he got nothing other than just being malicious. There was no point. He didn't gain any data. He just played a prank. It's like, I guess, the website version of a doorbell ditch or toilet papering someone's house. You just get some fun out of it. That's the only thing. He didn't get anything off my website. Okay. So there was a question that asked, were any passwords or any of your data compromised? No, none of your data lives on this server. And I do have a full track record of every command and everything he did. And I'll show you how I figure that out in a little bit. But yeah, I followed his entire trail of everything that he did. And yeah, nothing malicious was done. It was all just it seemed like he was learning. Luckily he could have done potentially more damage to me. He wouldn't have got anything from it other than just being malicious. But basically it looked like he was just learning the ropes of how to potentially do something like this. So anyway, because of my server configurations, he wasn't allowed to do some of the things that he did attempt to do. Such as it's really, a lot of this has to be nothing with what you guys can do. Like, it's, the Linux user, the account that the web server is running under, and can that account, does it have access to privileges to other folders, or is it just scoped to the web server folders, right? Which is important. That's what you want. Can it run scheduled jobs? No, you don't want it to be able to, but depending on your server setup, things could have got a lot worse. So luckily, this server was built by me. And while I'm probably not the world's best Linux admin, I have been doing it for quite a long time. So I did know, and I had at least the basic security measures in place. Okay. There is another thing I should note, that I did tweak my PHP settings. In my PHP INI file, I did disable, hold on, let me see if I can. there. So I still have it on my clipboard. Look at that. Where is this? Let me put this inside. Let me create a new file here. All right. Here's a good tip. Okay. I don't think you need print, but all right. So inside your, if you have control over your PHP INI, whoops, I made it way too big. Okay. I think this line would definitely not hurt you. Okay. And it basically what it does is it disables the exec and system commands in PHP, which basically allows you to run command line jobs via a PHP file. So a lot of hosts have this disabled. Like for example, if you're using ChiliDog already has these things disabled. Okay. Now this does mean if you have a PHP, you won't be able to run the exec or system commands, okay, in your PHP scripts. So, but that could save you, because then that means no one can upload a PHP file that could potentially run a command. Okay. So, this is a nice to have. Again, if we stop the user from ever being able to upload a PHP file, that is nice. Okay. But, this wouldn't be a horrible thing to add to your server. It's just another layer of protection. If you don't need those two commands. Okay. So there we go. All right. Forget where I was going next. Oh, we were talking about what did he get from it? Yeah, he didn't get anything from it. Except just being a douche and yeah, making my life hard for a day. You know, all in all, I'm trying to make lemonade out of lemons here. You know, this did open up my eyes to a loophole in Total CMS. That loophole is now plugged, and that is a good thing, right? The only good thing can come with that. Not only does it help me, but it helps all of you guys, right? Yes, it's a caveat where this exploit was only done because my demo page is not password protected on purpose. But it's a loophole that is now plugged so that all of you have a better, more secure CMS. So that's only a good thing. So making lemonade out of lemons, there we go. Always a good thing. So there were no viruses or bugs left behind. No. Now I will show you how I was able to discover that. And it's because of my server setup that I was able to actually rectify. I had my websites back up and running in less than an hour. Okay. And everything that he did was reverted in about an hour. Okay. At that point, then I had to do some investigative work to figure out what the root cause was. And that took a lot longer. That took multiple hours to figure out what was going on. But I at least had everything back up and running with all of his files removed in about an hour or less. Okay. From being woken up at 4 a.m. Thanks, Josh. Okay. So yeah, there we go. I did not find any malware. Now, since we're on that topic, I will. Am I sharing my screen? Yes, I am still sharing my screen. Okay. I did a live stream 4 years ago now, and I realized the date because, funny enough, I was talking to Josh, Stacksweaver, Josh, about this a week or two ago, about how I manage and deploy my websites using something called Git. It's a version control system. Now, this is the part that is going to be highly technical. And I'm not going to go into the how-tos. I did that in the live stream 4 years ago. My workflow is mostly the same now. But I do use Git, and I will show you the benefits that I got using Git, okay, to deploy my websites instead of using SFTP or FTP. Okay. And I do apologize. This is technical. Okay. But I will show you the benefits. So right now I'm on my web server, and I'm on Made for Stacks website. Okay. And I'm just going to run a couple commands. Actually, here, let me go ahead and I will make the text a little bit bigger for you guys. There it goes. Just so you can see. little bit better. Go one more. All right, there we go. All right, so it's nice and big. Okay, so I'm gonna run. Now this is all terminal-based stuff. Okay, so I know just by having to do this on terminal, it's going to blow some of your minds. Okay, but like I said, I warned you multiple times now. This is technical. So I'm gonna run git status, and that tells me the status of my Git repository. This is on my web server, inside the Made for Stacks website, and it basically says I'm up to date with my branch. It did find a couple files that it didn't know about, and this particular one I'm okay with. It's just some cache files for feeds, and so I'm okay with that. Okay, if I wanted to, I could put these into my git ignore file, and it would ignore these and not give me any errors. Okay, but what I want to do is I want to show you if I'm going to just create a file right now. I'm just going to create a file called touch.p.php. Okay, and if we look, that file is now there. Now I put that file in there that was not added to the server via Git, via this version control system. Okay, and now I'm going to do a status check again, and via the status check, it sees, Git knows this file that I don't know about is on the server. What's up with that? Okay, another thing that it can do is, let's say now this particular hack didn't modify any of my, well, it did. It modified my homepage. It basically replaced my entire homepage, right? So let's go ahead and I'm going to edit this robots file really quick, okay, just for fun. And I'm just going to put in a couple lines. Okay, so I have modified this robots file. Whoops. Okay, I've modified that robots file. So if I look at the contents of that robots file, it now has this line that wasn't there before. Okay, now I'm going to check my status again. And if we see now, it says right here, look, modified, robots.txt is modified. And again, we have these untracked files. Okay, this particular one I know about. It's just cache files for feeds. But this p.php file, wow, that's not a good one, right? And of course, if there are multiple modifieds, it would show you everything that's modified. If there are multiple untracked files, it would show you all the files it doesn't know about. Okay. Now, what's really cool is, in order to revert back to whatever I know is the golden standard for this, it's just a simple command, right? So I just do git reset hard head. Okay. Kind of a funny command. Yep. It's git reset hard head is the where I want to go to. And now it's reverted. Okay. And what that does is that'll undo all of the changed files, right? So if you see robots.txt is no longer has that that line at the bottom that I added. It's no longer there. Okay. And for this untracked file, I just need to delete it. So I'm just going to do rm-f p.php. Boop. Now if I run the status command again, voila, there we go. Okay, we're down to this one, but again, I know about that, right? So basically what I did is I went through each of my websites and I just did this. When you know what you're doing, this takes me literally like a minute or two for each website. And I have about, I think, 15 or 20 websites on this server. Okay. And not all the websites were compromised, but a lot of the RapidWeaver ones were, funny enough. So, so there we go. That is kind of how I fixed things on the server. Okay, is all with Git. Okay, pretty cool. Okay, not gonna really dive much into that. If you want more examples or more in depth about that, I do go over that in the live stream I did 4 years ago. Just search my live streams for Git publishing with Git or advanced publishing, something like that, on my YouTube channel. Okay. Next up. So that's how I reverted everything, and I did the initial fix. Now you might be wondering, how in the world did I figure out where the root cause was. How did I figure out that this is the downloads of this page was what was triggering it all? And yes, that took me hours, okay, to figure it out. Now, and it did take me hours. And basically what I did was I searched through, so I downloaded all of my access logs, okay, from my server. And now my particular web server right now isn't running Apache. Earlier this year, I moved to a new server called Caddy. So my logs are going to look quite a lot different than yours. However, most of you are probably running Apache, and they have access logs as well. And it'll have the same general information. Essentially, it logs every single HTTP request that was ever made to your domain. So you can see every time anyone visits any URL in your browser, it shows up in these access logs. And basically what I did is I kind of I went into terminal and just I am a terminal junkie, and that allowed me to process these a lot quicker, because obviously I wanted to only find the sketchy requests, right? So oops, let's go ahead. So I'll be honest, I didn't document everything that I did in terminal to figure it out, but essentially I got around to finding stuff from this Soccer Depot. Okay. I then filtered out into its own kind of log file, and I had basically every command that this guy was running. If you see, here's this 0.php file. Okay. Now if you look, what's important here, if you look, this 0.php is not in Depot. He basically moved this in multiple locations across multiple websites, and inside multiple folder, like random folders. He would just like put these files in random folders all over the place. Okay. So that it would be hard to detect. Now I use Git, so it was super easy for me to know everything that changed. I have to admit, probably even when I did my live stream, I didn't see protecting myself from hackers as a bonus of using Git. Now it saved me probably days of headaches, or potentially never knowing what the heck happened. Okay. Because I was able to find, if you look here, I have free stacks, browser detective stacks, files, 0.php, right? He knew he put it there, but I mean, there's so many folders and places that potentially could be a file that I wouldn't know about, especially if you just use RapidWeaver and you just hit publish. You have no clue about the structure of your website, right? But because I use Git knows. So Git knows about everything that isn't expected to be there. So yeah, with this, I was able to find out every file and every request. And then basically I sorted all of these by date. And when I sorted all of these by date, I could find the very first instance. And that first instance led me to this depot, which then obviously I know Total CMS. And then it just clicked on what he did. I was like, oh, he found that loophole, right? And that's where we are now. I plugged in all the loopholes and whatnot. So what are some other things that I did? Let's see. I'm seeing some questions here. Sorry, I have Total CMS on a demo server of my server without registration code. Do I have a security problem, or should I just make the update? Yeah, just release the update, Marcelo. So yeah, that update will at least plug so that people can't upload PHP files and whatnot. Okay. I do recommend, as a precaution, I have that PHP INI thing that I showed earlier. You can watch the replay and get that. But that would be a nice. That's not required. Again, that's just an extra little, security thing. Okay. Hopefully your host is doing that already. Okay. But there we go. So yeah, if you have a demo that is live, it doesn't matter if it's registered or not. It doesn't need to be registered. Obviously, if you're not registered and the license expired, you're not going to be able to upload stuff anyway. So there's that. So there we go. Okay, let's see. Are you self-hosting or using Convert? I self-host. So Mac Assist, I do host. I run my own server. I self-host. Well, it uses DigitalOcean, so it's not my server. I do pay for the server space, but I'm the one that set up the entire server. I did it all myself from scratch. Okay. So if you need, Chili Dog's a great one. I recommend them. He's very security conscious. So if you're a very security conscious guy, Greg over at Chili Dog is a great job. I do use DigitalOcean. It's not for the faint of heart though. It's very technical. If anything goes wrong, it's your responsibility. I couldn't go to DigitalOcean to help me with this. It's my server. I did everything. Okay, so I'm on the hook for it all. Another server that a host that I use for some test websites and some smaller stuff that I play around with, I use DreamHost. It's really great. I have affiliate links to all of that on Weaverspace/start if you want to use those. Okay. Hey, Mari says, so Josh notified you that, yeah, Josh notified me. He called me at 4 a.m. I was sleeping in bed, that my sites were down. Okay. And that just prompted me to go to my, fire up my laptop. And again, I was on the hook for it all. So I had to fix it. I doubt my clients will get a call about a hacked site. Yes. So Mari, you're like, well, how does this affect you? So if you don't manage your own server, I'm sure everybody here doesn't manage their own server, right? So you just can't fire up and do everything that I did. Okay. Well, maybe you could. A lot of hosts do have shell access and whatnot, right? But again, I had a very technical setup, so but not everybody has that. So had your site been hacked, hopefully if you're using a traditional host, they're already security conscious since they host tons of users' websites. They're going to have a lot of security measures in point, so stuff like this doesn't happen. Okay. And again, also password protect your admin page. Had I had a password on my admin page, none of this would have happened anyways. Okay. But let's say something else happened and your site got hacked. One thing you could do is obviously contact your host. Okay. And then have them revert to a backup. I strongly urge that. If you don't have something like my Git set up, because it's going to be very difficult to find any files that are buried in the system. So you can either revert to a backup, or another thing that you can do is delete your published website, delete the entire thing. If you have Total CMS, make sure you get the CMS data folder. Okay, first. You back up that CMS data folder, clean the entire site from your server, do a republish all, and then put the CMS data folder back. What that will do is that will give you a 100% clean website, and you can guarantee that no files are like buried somewhere in the file system, right? I'm not sharing anymore. Let's just go to me. So hopefully that makes sense, right? So you can either revert to a backup that your host took that has a known good version, non-hacked version of the site. Then you also need, or you can clean the server up, basically delete everything that's on the server, re-upload a new copy from RapidWeaver, a published website. Be careful of that. If you are using Total CMS, making sure that CMS data, because that is not stored inside RapidWeaver. That is only on your server. So before you trash everything, make sure you get that CMS data folder. Okay. And then republish all, put the CMS data back, and then you're certain to have a clean copy of your website. Okay. With that said, you also need to make sure you find the root cause on how the guy got in, right? And hopefully, you don't need to go through all the steps that I did. Hopefully, if you're using a host, they will be able to identify that. Okay, so hopefully that works. Would it be possible to restrict Depot to a particular file type, such as PDFs? Yes, that's already a possibility. So you can restrict Depot to only allow PDFs or only allow zip files. That's already a feature. Again, it's just the perfect storm of how I had my demo set up. I allowed any file to be uploaded, and I had it not password protected. Okay. Yes, Dave Hitting says make sure you don't delete any of your warehouse documents. So yeah, I said about CMS data, but if you have a warehouse folder, make sure you don't trash that too. Okay, and maybe even look into there in case if you need those files, make sure you look into that. There's nothing suspicious in there. Okay, but hopefully you guys have a backup of locally of your warehouse folder. That's always a good thing to have as well. Okay. Dave, I have backup Synology once a week. Yes, cool. The CMS folder is where the malicious file will be stored. Not necessarily, because with PHP you can create files in other directories, right? So, like I showed a little glimpse earlier, he had moved that 0.php file. Yes, he originally downloaded it to the Depot folder. However, he then moved it, right? So kind of crazy. So he used PHP to basically move that to different locations within the web folder, right? So there we go. He made copies. What do you think about the idea to allow a limited number of inputs for PageSafe, a limited number of password entries? Not sure I understand. Maybe you're thinking password attempts. So I mean, with PageSafe, you do have multiple options. You can have a passcode, which is a lengthy, long password, which is going to be just as strong as any other password authenticated engine. In terms of blocking a particular user after a certain number of failed attempts, that's something that could potentially be implemented. I do have that on my list of things to look into. I don't know if it will get implemented, but I have already started PageSafe 2. Just but I have zero ETA on that. I just did some work on it. Actually, madeforstacks.com actually is running PageSafe 2 because I needed some cool features for that. So I did start PageSafe 2, but yes, that is an idea. I have that on my list of possibilities. I think there could potentially be some better ways than just that, though. So good idea. Let's see, lots of questions. I think I've answered all the questions. As Scott Williams says, sometimes it's not new files. Sometimes they do modify existing files. Yes. So that's why I showed you earlier how I modified that robots.txt file. Now, that particular file, a hacker isn't going to care about your robots.txt file, but they can modify JavaScript files. They can modify PHP files so that maybe you don't even notice. Like, so when the user hacked my site, right? Hopefully I still have that server running. All right. So when this particular person hacked my sites, they replaced the homepage with this. Super easy to know that I got hacked, right? However, if there could be a lot more subtle and clever hacks, right? Which is just and it potentially you can have someone hack your website and not even know it because your website's still 100% functional. But they could modify a JavaScript file that maybe sends data or injects some stuff onto your website that you don't even know is there. They can inject some PHP that does some stuff in the background, but still allows all your PHP to run, right? So not knowing is probably definitely a possibility where someone is modifying an existing file on your site, still allowing your site to function, but then doing extra stuff, underhanded stuff, maybe data collecting or all kinds of stuff. Everyone say hi to my son. You're on my live stream, Josh. He was waiting for the opportunity of when to get the papers. Yes, as you know, oh, Jeff Taylor, I never upload from RapidWeaver. I always upload from using Transmit. I mean, uploading from Transmit versus RapidWeaver doesn't really. While that's great, Transmit is great because it has that sync function, okay, which is the bee's knees. That won't necessarily stop a hacker, right? And that's not going to prevent from hacking. That's just giving you FTP is still FTP, whether or not it's from RapidWeaver or Stacks or Transmit. Okay. It's just the feature of that app. So always do a very recent. Oh, but he's saying that basically he always does a recent clean publish so that he can, basically then sync that up with Transmit. Yeah, that's cool. Good job. Perfect. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, you made a good point. Yeah. So basically, on a weekly basis, he cleans the server and then syncs it from a local folder using Transmit. So yeah, that works. I do a similar thing, but I use Git. And Git, as I showed earlier, gives us a little bit more extra control and some cool features because it knows what's changed, what's not changed, and all that jazz. But yeah, if you're doing clean installs, then you're good to go. Cool. Well, guys, I think we're good. I've kind of shown off everything. I'm happy to, if you want to continue this, if you got more questions and you want to chit chat on the community about what happened and more details and questions about what I did to circumvent it, let me know. Yeah, I am pretty happy that this, I mean, I'm not happy that it happened, but again, lemonade out of lemons here. I have some great updates shipped out for Total CMS already. So we're definitely more rock solid and secure. Yeah, make sure you password protect your admin pages. So cool, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you on the community. Hopefully we'll see you on Friday at the Hangout. Take care, everyone.